In this video, I want to talk about your job search, and specifically how you want to interact with people when you're looking for a job. Now, as scientists and engineers, we tend to be very goal-oriented and often go directly at a problem we want to solve. A lot of times that works out well, but when looking for a job, I've seen it work out very poorly. So, in this video today, I want to tell you why looking for a job is a lot like dating. Hey everybody, Dave Giltner with TurningScience. Today I want to talk about an important aspect of your job search, and it relates to how you interact with people when you're looking for a job. Now, we scientists and engineers can tend to be pretty goal-oriented, and some of us can be very direct in going after what we want to do. When it comes to looking for a job, we develop a plan and we attempt to execute it as quickly and efficiently as possible. And this is fine. I work with people all the time and I tell them, define your target. Know what you want to do and where you want to do it. And then we work together to develop a plan to get there quickly and efficiently. But the problem is if you approach a job search, if you take that intensity and that drive into your networking, the networking aspect of looking for a job, it's not going to go well. I like to say that looking for a job is a lot like dating. And what I mean is that when you approach people because you need a job, you can't be that direct. I can't just approach a woman and say, I need a girlfriend. Are you available? We all know that's not going to go well, right? She'll probably turn and run away. And yet, I've seen a lot of job seekers who feel that they can be that direct when it comes to looking for a job, that that's a good practical way to go about it. They can come up with a resume in hand and say, I'm looking for a job. Are you hiring? And get a direct answer, and if they say no, they go on to somebody else. It sounds very practical, but it doesn't really work any better in looking for a job than it would if you were looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So I want to tell you a story to make my point. And this is something that actually happened to me about a year ago. So I was at a local industry association event for the photonics industry. This particular meeting had a trade show. So a lot of the local optics photonics companies were there with a table to display what they're working on, talk about their products. It was largely a networking kind of event, a place where everyone here in the industry could come to learn more about the local companies. It's also a great place for networking for students, and I could see, looking around the room, there were probably a lot of people who were students, young people who were there to learn about the companies and see if they might ultimately be able to get a job from them when they graduate. That's an awesome idea. If I were a student, I would have been there looking for that too. So I'm there at the meeting, and at one point I'm at a table of a company that is making these 3D cameras that will be used for industrial automation. And I actually know the owner. He's a friend of mine. And I'm really engaged in talking to him about this technology. He had some samples there. It was really cool to take a look at him and ask him, how do you fabricate these? And this looks really challenging to assemble. And he was really engaged in telling me about this startup and this new technology that he was working on. So at some point, I noticed there's a student standing next to me. I know he's a student because he's got his resume in hand. And at first, he just looked focused. But as this conversation between me and the owner continued, the student starts to look increasingly frustrated and look over at me and look at the owner, and it's clear he's getting frustrated because he doesn't have a chance to talk to this guy yet. And I could tell the owner saw him, and from the expression on his face, I could tell he didn't really want to talk to him. He knew what was going on just as much as I did, and somehow this student was totally unaware of it. He was still focused on this goal of getting in to talk to this owner and get him his resume. Well, after a few minutes, we finished our conversation, and so I moved away from the table. So I didn't hear the conversation. I didn't hear exactly what happened after that, but I turned around to watch because I was very interested in where is this going to go. Of course, the student jumps right in there as soon as I leave and starts talking to the guy, hands him his resume, and I can tell by the look on my friend's face, he seemed fairly serious and not exactly excited about the interaction. Well, it didn't last very long. By coming off so intense and so focused, he destroyed any chances he had. If I was in the shoes of this owner, I wouldn't want to hire the guy. I probably wouldn't even want to talk to the guy. And certainly if he ever came around again, I'm probably going to remember him and remember the bad impression he left on me. So, what could desperate student have done to make a better impression? Well, first of all, it seemed he was in a big hurry. It seemed as though he was there with a stack of resumes, and his goal was to get one resume to every single company with the expectation that that would increase his chances of getting a job. Of course, that's just not true. When it comes to looking for a job, quality is way more important than quantity. Now look, if you want to get a job at McDonald's, for example, fine. Go in with your resume, say, are you hiring? And if they say no, go down the street, go to Wendy's or Burger King or some other place. But I'm guessing most people watching this video are not looking for that type of a job. When it comes to a professional job, a technical job, the kind that we talk about here on this channel, it's far more about a quality connection. If he had decided this camera company was part of his target, a company that was in the technology or the application space that fit his strengths or his interests or his experience, he would have done some research on the company in advance. That way, he could come in knowing something about the company already. He could have joined into the conversation I was already having. So instead of me being there as being an impediment to his progress, it actually could have been a great start. He could have listened to what I was saying and perhaps learned more. He could have asked his own educated, informed questions about it. Something like, I've seen this camera technology and I think it's really impressive for this reason. How do you put these two parts together? Or how do you test this particular specification? But a genuinely interested question, that would have impressed the owner. I'm sure instead of thinking, this guy looks like he's going to be a pain in the ass, he probably would think, wow, I'm impressed that you've done some research on this technology that means so much to me and my company. And instead of remembering him as an annoyance, which is I'm sure what the outcome actually was, he probably would have remembered him as a much more interesting person and somebody he may consider in the future. So I've given you a story about a particularly bad way to try to make a connection with a potential employer in industry. And I've given you some ideas for a much better way to do it. So I hope the next time you are in this situation, trying to make connections with potential employers in industry, you remember this story and you remember to take it slow. Don't be too direct. Don't appear too desperate. Just like in dating, you can't come across too practical. It won't work. Do some research. Come up with some other things to talk about and come in asking about them, showing that you know what you're talking about. It'll make a much better impression. Now, if you do this, they may start asking questions of you. And if they do, that's a great thing because that means they are interested in you and they'd like to learn more about you to see if perhaps you might be a good fit for that company either today or in the future. Now, if your only experience is in academic research, you may be thinking, great, but that's my next problem. How do I, somebody with only academic research experience, impress somebody who's working at a company in industry? How do I show that I'm practical, that I can solve practical problems, that I'm a good fit for their company? If this is what you're worried about, I suggest you check out the video I've got linked in the description notes below this. It's called 5+1 Ways to Impress an Interviewer. Now, this video is part of our Turning Science Academy program, so it's not here on YouTube, but if you click the link and drop your email, you'll get it for free. I suggest you check this out. It's just right in the description notes below this video. So there you have it. Looking for a job really is a lot like dating. Who knew? So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please click that like button. It'll help me, but more importantly, it'll help other people who could benefit from this video because more likes means YouTube shows it to more people. And if you'd like to get more of this content yourself, be sure to click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I post about 2 of these every month to help you design the career you really want. Thanks for watching. Now let's get out there and turn science into things people need.